Hello, guys. How is everybody? Thank you guys for being here again. As always, Grateful, Elena, you guys rock. Let me know how the audio sounds. Let me know how everything is going. We are back. And man, it feels good. It feels great to be back. I know it's been about 2 weeks, or 3 almost, since my last upload on the channel. But I really have been sort of sitting in sorry guys, sitting in the background is what I'm trying to say. Give me a second. Let me check one thing before we continue. Well, so I am using Patreon now. I'm using StreamYard, and I want to thank my Patreons because they helped me get StreamYard basically, and it really fixed everything. Made it a lot easier to use, made it a lot more like I feel like I can share screens, I can add people on here. Before I was using OBS and it was just too complicated. But first off, what I want to say is thank you guys for being here. All of you, you all rock. I'm sorry about being on mute there for a minute. I see Pintonius said no audio. Can you guys hear me well now? Does it sound good? Just let me know. Also, you guys might have to tell me if the mic moves because it's sitting here, but it's moving back and forth for some reason. I see Angel Marto says, hey, my friend, long time no see. I'm really glad to see the notification. Thank you, Angel. And you know what? The most important thing for me, let me take these headphones off. I had them on for a second just to see what it sounded like, but let me take them off. The most important thing for me about coming back on and getting back on here is being able to come and talk to you guys. By the way, as always, my co-host is here, but now you can actually see her. Everyone say hi to Nala. She's sleeping back there. Alien Girl, thank you for joining me. Also, thank you for inviting me to your channel. I think it was last week. I had a blast. It was great. You had a bunch of people join. I thought that was really cool. You brought a lot of people together. And yeah, so let me clarify why I haven't been on for 2 or 3 weeks now. You know, I really want to thank the people that reached out to me. Like some people sent me messages on Twitter. Some people dropped a comment on a video and they're like, hey, what's going on? Are you good? I'm good. I just have been dealing with like work stuff, like life stuff, really. Like nothing crazy, nothing drastic, nothing intense, just the rat race, the 9 to 5. I do this because I love it. You know, I don't live for my channel. I don't live for my content. I don't even live from, you know, some of you might have seen that I sell NFTs sometimes, or I drop a t-shirt and this and that. I don't live from that stuff. I have to like, you know, like you and all of you watching this probably and listening to this, if you're listening to this as a podcast, because this should go up as a podcast. I've also slept on the podcast for some time. You all have jobs. You all know what I'm saying. Most of us in the, you know, that are interested in the UFO topic, we are an older crowd. So I think you know where I'm coming from. But I couldn't have picked a worse moment to be stuck in the rat race than right now, because the UFO topic is no longer a joke. And I think most of you will agree, right? We're in a point right now that is very different from anything I've ever experienced when it comes to this subject throughout my lifetime. Now, I know I'm not a researcher that has been around for 30 years. I would say maybe 15 years. Let's just put it there, right? I'm going to say 15 because that was probably when I could like actually research, because I was like a teenager. But I've been looking into this topic forever. Like, I really don't remember a time when I wasn't. So right now, it seems like the paradigm is shifting. It's not a pun on Christina Gomez's channel, but make sure to check her out. Also, check out Alien Girl's channel. And there's so many people that I want to thank that have just been having great discussions during this whole time I haven't been on the channel or uploading, that have just been continuing and helping grow this conversation, because that is important, right? That's part of the reason why it's like once I drop the ball, it's hard for me to pick it back up again. And I'm the kind of guy that walks into a room and reads the room. And right now, the room is buzzing. Okay. So I didn't want to come on here unless I really had something valuable to tell you guys. And I've been seeing how everything is going, what everybody's saying, what everybody's talking about. And I feel like what we need to do, just like the last time I came on here, is take a step back and talk to you guys. Right? I want to know, Pintonius, how you're feeling, what you're thinking about the news, what you're thinking about what's going on. I want to know, Alien Girl, how you're feeling, what really, honestly, what you think is going on. Angel as well. And guys, do me a favor, share this on Twitter, and let's see if we can get more people in the live chat, as always, right? It's like a tradition. And let's see if we can get this conversation really, really popping. I want to keep it real tonight. It is Friday night. It is late in Buenos Aires. It's like 10 o'clock. And it could have been later. I think that's what's going to have to happen going forward on this channel. I might have to just, when I get a slot, I'm going to have to take it. I also, going back to, the community, and everybody's been doing such a great job. The Unidentified Celebrity Review has had multiple guests. He's been doing amazing. Engaging the Phenomenon has a podcast now. You guys should go check out that UFO podcast. Don't forget to go there. Those are my boys. Everyone, really. UFO Jesus, Jeremy Corbell, all the way to Richard Dolan and George Knapp. Everybody has been doing an amazing job. Lou Elizondo, sir, if you ever see this, I tip my hat to you. You have been doing amazing work. And I know tonight, I think he's going to be on Fox and CNN at, I think it was like 10 o'clock or 10 Eastern. So maybe in like 2 hours for most of you guys. UFO man, what's up, man? He says, hi, Undead. I'm glad to see you here. Glad to see everybody in the live chat. And really, again, I'm going back to what I was saying. The UFO phenomenon is no longer a joke. It is being taken very serious. But I also think the conversation is sort of on a level right now that doesn't have to do with you and I. Doesn't have to do too much with the UFO community. We helped get it here with what we're doing, with what we're saying, with the, what we're sharing. But the focus at the moment is on the general public, as it has been for me personally in the last year. I really want the general public to open up to this and understand what this could all really mean. What this could mean about human history. And I think that we're in the right space right now. I think it's the disclosure that no one ever expected. It's this, I have talked to some people that have been around for a long time. I've talked to some people that have been around for 4 years. And I think everyone's a little caught off guard. And it makes sense, right? Take it from me as somebody that in many times in my life I've been caught off guard. But this is something that I would have never visualized or imagined it, or, sat back and thought that it would play out like this. But again, I still think that we're right in we're right in that what would be the word or the phrase I'm trying to use here? We're like in that, that moment where you feel like you're in the zone. That's where we are right now. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like if you're a basketball player and you're just really in the zone, or whatever, you're a writer, you're a creative, whatever you're doing. That's where we are. We're focused, we're centered. But I still think that the conversation is so large at this point that some of us need to just, not in like, don't take this in a negative way, but I'm saying some of us need to just sit back, like myself. I need to sit back, listen, see what is really going on. Let me know what you guys think. But I think there's been so much UFO news in the last 3 weeks that I have not been on here that it's been hard for me to keep up. Again, I'll say that my life in this moment in time has not been the most, planned out, or, there's no like agenda. I'm like going all over the place. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to you guys all the time. But I see Pintonia says, I can't keep up, way too much. It is way too much, but it's enough, right? It's what we needed. We needed it to get to this point. I think, like I was saying, in my lifetime, I've never seen this much. But I think it's good. I think it's healthy. I think it's going to help this discussion and help push it where it needs to go. Internet UFO database. He says, me too. Very tough to keep up with. I've been staying up, right? Like I've been saying, I'm the rat race, 9 to 5. I've been staying up late for these last 3 weeks, just following everything, trying to stay on Twitter, trying to reach out to you guys, talk to you guys. And I got to be honest, I'm waking up like every morning I'm waking up like, whoa, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe this happened. Where are we going next? What's going on? But I do see the path that we're on. And I think it's a healthy one. I think this whole idea that Stephen Greer was spitting with the PSYOP, and this whole idea that, the government is, or like Lou Elizondo, not necessarily the government, because we'll talk about that in a minute, but that Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon, they are sort of selling this lie. I think it was my last breaking point when it came to Stephen Greer. Look, I respect the guy because he did a lot of great work. When I was young, I looked up to the guy. Now, at this point, I have no clue what's going on. I don't understand where he's coming from, what he's saying. I get it, because that is sort of the idea that was engraved into us 10 years ago. But this is a new world. This is a new time. This is a new flow of information. This is something to make you sit back and think. The government is decompartmentalized, just like today. Let me see what his name is, but I think let me jump over here 1 second, guys, and I'll tell you right now. But I want to say something because I think it's going to really explain what I'm trying to say, right? It's really going to give an idea of what I'm saying. So the Bill Nielsen, who's the new NASA administrator, was talking about looking into the UFO subject today on CNN. And he was saying that they are not working with, the DOD or the Pentagon, whatever, on creating the UAP report, right? They're not working with them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I thought that was a good, view of how this really works. So NASA is not working directly with the people that are creating the UAP report, the UAP task force. They are interested in it, and they're looking into it now because Bill Nelson, who seems to be pretty much a badass from what I saw in the video, in the CNN piece that he was in, is talking about taking that, the Tic Tac, the gimbal, these videos, and the Jeremy Corbell video, everything that came out, the pyramid video, the Omaha video, to the scientists at NASA and see what they could find. And when they asked him, are you working, with the UAP task force? He said, no. He said, but if we find something, I'm sure they're going to want to know. I'm sure the Pentagon's going to want to know. And I thought that was brilliant because I said, there you go. That's just a sign to show you how decompartmentalized this topic really is. People don't take it seriously enough when they think this is all just one big cover up. I think there might be a cover up. I don't think it's a psyop agenda kind of thing always. I think that could happen. We know about Richard Doty. We know about, I've been in this for a long time. Not as long as others, but I've been in long enough to tell you that the government does at times lie to you. The government's like your parents. They're not always going to tell you the truth because they don't think it's right. They don't think it's good for you to know the truth. You might find out 10 years later, and you might think, why didn't they tell me that? It's because they didn't want to, because they thought it wasn't good for you. And that's kind of how the government works. Some of you are like, well, yeah, I know. Well, remember that always. Never forget that. So I've been kind of in the shadows with this whole situation because I see UFO Man said most time they lie. I gotta mute that. Nala's moving around back there. Most time they lie. And I wouldn't have to argue. I'm not going to argue with you when you say that because they do lie. I will tell you point blank right now. If you believe that your government in any part of the world doesn't lie, then you are clearly mistaken. Just take a look, take a peek into your history books, and you'll see it plain as day right there. You'll see it. I loved history. I loved world history when I was in high school, and it was something that I walked away. I don't really pay attention to politics too much at all because of that, because I liked world history. And there were so many questions I had, so many, things I wanted to talk about that had no answers. They had no clear responses to give me. The book couldn't tell me anything. The teacher couldn't tell me anything. It was just nonsense. So that continues to happen, and it will always continue to happen. So one thing you can't forget, though, is that the everyday common person needs the government to tell them what to think, needs the government to tell them what's real, what's not, what laws to follow, where to go, what can you do. That's kind of how people work from the time of the 10 Commandments to now. And it's going to continue forever that way. Maybe if we can educate our children to truly be unconventional thinkers, to truly step outside the box, to truly think for themselves, maybe they'll be able to figure something out on their own. But I don't see much changing, because even when there's rebellions, even when there's people fighting for freedom, hippies turn into businessmen. That's just the way it goes. And I've said this before. If you want to find the truth, you follow the money. And people have come at me like, oh, life's not about money. The world's not about money. I know. I wish it wasn't. But it is, unfortunately. That's just the way the cards fall on the table, because it's the world we live in. It's a society that's been built. It's sort of the chains that we have wrapped around us. So back to what I was saying. Right now, I think we are in a momentous, beautiful moment, right? For those that have no idea about the UFO phenomenon, for those that have just maybe thought about it for a moment. Maybe they sat in the back of the car and looked at the stars and thought about it for a second. But then they said, no, it's too much. It's too crazy. This is that moment that they needed to at least help them grab a book, look online, watch a documentary, do whatever, get a little bit educated on the topic. So I am grateful for where we're at right now. Definitely. And I'm grateful for the UFO Twitter community. I'm grateful for all the brave experiencers that come out to talk about this topic. Fravor, everyone, all the pilots that came out to talk about this subject, that witnessed this. We needed that. And there are some people that seem to be a little bit bitter about the situation and where we are, that seem to think the PSYOP kind of situation. But you got to just look at the whole picture. You got to realize that the PSYOP And this kind of stuff, I believe sometimes, I believe in conspiracies. I was going to say sometimes, but I believe in conspiracies because lots of conspiracies are real. But read the room, read the vibe, do your research, pay attention, and I've done mine. So I know the whole PSYOP story. I knew it 10 years ago. I knew it's the final card. The final card is this card. I don't think so. Those of you that have been in this for a long time will know what I was referring to a second ago. Susie Hickson says, really good point. Thanks, Susie. Sofa. Hey, man, I'm glad to see you here. Guys, by the way, remember, the super chat works, but don't feel like you need to pay ever for the super chat for me to read your comments. I will always pay attention to the live chat unless we've got like 50,000 people and I can't keep up with it. But then, even then, I promise, I will look at the live chat because that's what this was all about in the beginning. And that's what it's always going to be about, talking to you guys and getting down with the community and really connecting with you guys. I had a moment, during this whole situation, because it's almost like, that scene at the end of The Breakfast Club. Have you guys seen it? That old ladies movie? Beautiful movie. If you haven't seen it, make sure to watch it. I'm forgetting the character's name, whatever. He's like the rebel kind of character. And the movie ends with him kind of putting his fist up and doing like this walk away in slow motion, right? He walks away and it kind of freezes on him with his fist up. And when this all sort of fell into play and everything started, kind of the pieces of the puzzle started coming together, our chess pieces were moving just right 2-3 weeks ago. And I knew we were going to get here. I felt almost like that, that moment where I was like, dude, you've been doing this for so long. You've been making these videos. Your friends are probably like, what are you doing? Like, I'm the only one it's not like I have a group of friends other than you guys here. UFO man, thank you, man. Thank you for that super chat. He says, John Rocks, thanks, man. But guys, make sure to check out UFO Man's channel as well. Super cool. But I was saying, I feel like lots of us, we stand against the grain. We go against the normal idea of what people really think about every day. Lots of people are thinking about shopping. Lots of people are thinking about whatever, right? And I am literally sitting here most of my day, unless I'm working. And even when I'm working, I'm looking into cases. I'm thinking about this topic. I am trying to think of, how can I present this? How can I talk to you guys? What can I say? What can I do to help push this forward? So for me to see where we are today, I felt like it was that Breakfast Club moment, right? And after that Breakfast Club moment, if you guys have seen the Breakfast Club, you'll be like, what happened to the character? So that was kind of where I was at, right? And on top, like I was telling you guys, I was super busy. So I was trying to get back on track, but I just kept slipping back and slipping. And the news kept coming in and coming in and coming in. The conversations are always happening. People are always talking. And I'm thinking, give me a second, right? Because I'm not the kind of person that's going to come on here and break down the radar data for you. I'm the kind of person that's going to come on here and sit down with you and look at you and tell you, you're not alone on this search, man. You've never been alone. None of you. Everything UFOs. Thank you for that super chat. He says, because you're taking your time to chat with everyone. I promise, man, I'm going to be back always. I'm never going to be gone. I was sending tweets out saying, I'm not dead yet. It's the undead gaucho. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, man. Sofa. He said, I summoned an orange orb triangle in my local park. He says, FFS. The government can't lie to me. That's what I mean. There's so many experiencers out there. There's so many people that have actually come face to face with this phenomenon, and you guys deserve a voice. You guys deserve to sit down and talk to somebody that's not going to tell you, I don't care about your experience. I do care about your experience, and I will always care about your experience. And right now, the conversation is where it needs to be, but who knows where it's going to go next? Who knows where it's going to evolve? So those of us that believe in this phenomenon, but really want to see the big picture, really want to, I know you might argue with me and say everyone's doing that, but I feel like for me, it's a little different. You know, the other day I was seeing what was happening in, I think it was Yemen, where the kids are starving to death. You know, they've been starving to death for years. And it's because of war. It's because of money, because they can't afford their medicine, they can't afford food, and because it's just war stricken, right? And I sit back and I think this whole positive conversation, this whole positive idea that Greer sort of spills out when he talks about the phenomenon. I think if the phenomenon were intelligent, if I were a intelligent, advanced being, I would not let children die. You know, I would not let children starve to death. I would not let humans fight over tiny, unimportant things, or let the rich manipulate them to do these kinds of things, rip a country apart and destroy families. You know, if that was me, I would do that. Even if it meant that I have to put myself in danger, even if it meant that I had to risk my life, I think I would do that. You know, I could do it now. You know, who knows? You know, life can take you down some crazy road, so you'll never know what could happen. And the more I think, I never was the kind of person that thought about these kinds of things. I remember seeing a photo of a Syrian boy that was drowned on the beach. I'm going to tell you guys something. I really haven't. Maybe I shared it once on the podcast a long time ago, but I'm going to share it. And every time I tell the story, I get a little uncomfortable because it's just, I still remember the moment when I had this feeling, this gut wrenching feeling. So I'm at work. I'm in an office, right? You know, lots of professionals walking around, and I go into the bathroom, and I'm like in the bathroom, and I'm whatever doing my thing in the bathroom. And before I walk out, I grab my phone. So I'm like at the sink, and I'm like about to wash. You know, I wash my hands, and I'm looking at my phone. And I don't know why it just came up. It was this picture of this little boy. He was drowned on the sand with his face in the sand. And I've always looked into this topic, right? And I've always felt like, you know, the phenomenon could be a representation of religion. So it could be like the gods. And then I see this picture of this little boy that drowned because all they were trying to do was get out of a place that was horrible and terrible and ruining them. And maybe they would have died where they were into somewhere where they might have a little bit of freedom, a chance to live. And because we have these concepts, these human constructs, this idea that, oh, we don't have an explanation for this, so it's not alien, that kind of idea, right? I'll even go that far to say that. Because we have these stupid concepts, these stupid ideas of this is the planet, these are the different colors. Each of you lives in one of these colors. On the map, you're all different colors. This little kid was, you know, he didn't even get a chance to live a life. He didn't even get a chance. Imagine how terrible it would be to experience that as a child, because you don't even understand what drowning is like. I don't think you've ever even seen a movie. You haven't seen the Titanic. He was that small. And like I said, I'm not the kind of guy, I'm not a humanitarian or a pacifist or any of this kind of, like, I try to be nice, I try to be peaceful, but when I saw this, I thought somebody needs to help us wake up. We need to wake up, because children should not be starving to death. Children should not be drowning. People should not be, you know, getting killed by drones that are, you know, mistaking them for an enemy or whatever. There are, you know, the enemy is always the person standing behind the barrel. So there's so many aspects of this culture that we need to fix. And I think the UFO phenomenon if we understood it and we didn't think of it like little green men, but we thought of it as something deeper, something more important. We might be able to fix a little bit, at least a little bit, of who we are and what we do with this planet. And I've had moments where I put down everything. I put down the research because I was just so frustrated to think, oh, this advanced technology just flying around and doing all these things for 70 years, but they don't seem to come down and really help us. Other than, when they come into contact with some people, they give them a little whisper in the ear. A little, don't use nuclear weapons. Don't destroy the planet. But I feel like that's what you should do. If you were intelligent, you would know. If I come into contact with these beings, what I should do is treat them nicely and then tell them something like that and leave. So I see UFO Man says, UFO technologies can change our world. I truly think they can. I think the technologies we have now will eventually change our world. I don't even know if we'll be on Earth when I have, my great grandchildren may not even be on Earth anymore. But it's more about us as a species and us understanding how we think and what we do. And I've said this a lot of times on different channels and different podcasts, and I say it and it's like, it feels like it just goes through one ear and out the other sometimes when I say this to people, because it's almost like this response you get from some people in life. And I've got it a million times where they go, oh, so you want to live in a utopia? And I'm like, do I look like the kind of guy that wants to live in a utopia? Do I have the face of the kind of guy that wants to live in a utopia? No. I know there will always be problems. There will always be issues because it's the yin and the yang of the universe. There's no chaos. There's no light without darkness. There's always chaos. But we need to try to work on it. We need to try to fix it. And I know there's people out there. There are human beings. We don't even need the phenomenon that much. There's small groups. There's these small groups of amazing human beings that go out there and change the world and do things. So yeah, I just see this topic and I look at it from a big, huge lens and I try to bring it down and understand why something so advanced, why something so peaceful, if that's what the case is, would let this kind of stuff happen or would not educate us in a different kind of way. Because even when you think of the times of the gods, so let's refer back to what we have talked about many times on this channel, the gods and how UFOs and this phenomenon could be a reflection of that. Religion could be a reflection of the phenomenon, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And you think about when people used to sacrifice virgins and do all this kind of crazy stuff for the gods. The gods never came down and said, hey, don't do that. Don't, you got stories of angry gods. You got stories of gods kicking angels out of heaven, which is basically like sending the devil down to earth and all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's almost as if the phenomenon has these aspects of it. Like, who knows? Like the idea, the word alien, right? I don't know if you guys have had this issue that I've been having lately. For example, the New York Times article that came out, and it said here, I think I saved something for it so I can read it to you guys. Part of the article says, senior officials briefed on the intelligence conceded that the very ambiguity of the findings meant the government could not definitively rule out theories that the phenomenon observed by military pilots might be alien spacecraft. Here's my thing. Alien, the word alien. So we've said this before. We've said it like 5 times already tonight. I think the phenomenon's been here this whole time. So what makes it alien? Think about it for a second. It may have been here before us. So what makes this phenomenon alien? Just take a second. Really process it. Forget all the flying saucers from, Zeta Reticuli, all that stuff. Forget about it for a second. Just think about it for a minute. Take a seat, take a breath, and think about it. They've been here this whole time. it sounds like almost they've been here before us. Because if you think about it, that's what that's kind of the way it seems to be playing out here, right? So what makes it alien? Is it that we consider it alien? That's it, because we can't identify it, because we don't know where they're from, what they're doing, what's going on. And the first thing, I guess, when pop culture really picked it up, the idea of the space alien was popular. I think there are alien life forms on other planets. The co-host is moving around like crazy. I think there are alien life forms on other planets, obviously. I think there's so much life out there. But I think when we talk about this, when we talk about these craft and these things that have been interacting with us here, I think it might actually be something that has just been here this whole time. So what came first? The chicken or the egg? What are we? The chicken or the egg? That's what I'm saying. And to me, it seems almost like we're the egg. And for some reason, we're thinking we're the chicken. I think that's an easy way to put it. If you guys really know me, you'll know that I've been trying to do this as often as possible. I don't think I'm ever going to change. I'm going to look at the world like this always. I'm going to try to look at it as easy as possible, because you have enough McWests out there. You have enough brilliant people out there doing verbal and mental gymnastics to try to explain things to you. I'm just going to tell you how it is and how I see it. I might be wrong, but I think if you just look at it that way, there's no other way to see it, right? I don't think the word alien really fits this very well at this point. So just like they changed the word UFO, we might need to change the word alien. We might need to think of a new word to use to sort of pull the stigma off this idea of these beings in these craft. I think we might need to do that, which I hate to say, because I still use the word UFO all the time. I see how the word UAP has really taken us somewhere different. But I think we need to look at this a little different, because people are, haven't you noticed in all the news and everything they're talking about, the moment they say alien, extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial, I don't think they've said ultra-terrestrial yet, but alien, extraterrestrial, they chuckle, they laugh, right? They're willing to talk about UFOs. They're willing to talk about these craft that literally defy all, they break all the rules. They're doing things that we cannot. And when they say it's alien, they're like, oh, well, is it alien? I don't know. Really? Oh, wow, Chuck. That's really funny. Is it? Maybe. Who knows? Little green men. That's the problem. That's one of the big problems. The next problem we're going to face, because this is all a chess game. This is all part of it. This is the war for disclosure. Lots of people, I feel like, had this emotion, this sentiment that right now what was going to happen was full disclosure. That's not going to happen. It will not happen, because they're not going to put, dead alien corpses on the White House lawn. They're not going to do that. And they can't. They have to act surprised about it anyways. It's like, what if you knew something really crazy and eventually you realized you had to tell somebody about it, but you knew they never really believed that you knew anything about it? How would you do it? You would say, oh, wow, I didn't know either. How surprising. Yeah, right? You're just as surprised as me. That doesn't mean that there aren't people like Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon that maybe don't have all the answers and they want to know more. This topic has stretched out so far throughout time. And just to think about how big this really could be, you have to think about how deep the secrets could be, right? I don't know. So let me jump into the live chat. Let me see what you guys are doing. I got a little sidetracked. The Night Hunter's here. What's up, man? Thank you for being here. Marchand Petrochuka. I think I read that right. He says they are in a corner. They do not have any good other explanations. Aliens become the simplest one. Well, I think people just go with aliens, Marchand, because that's just what they know. For me, took me years to come to this idea, this conclusion. It might take somebody sooner. Like maybe somebody's listening to this and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, cool." But nobody ever said, "Hey, look, they've been here forever, so why would they be aliens? They've been interacting with us for all these years. How long do you need to stay in a country to have residency?" Right? Talking about that stupid idea of aliens in countries of our own species. How long do you have to be on a planet until you're actually from the planet? I don't know. Night Hunter says that leaves one with two possibilities, and you are correct to assume that it's always been with us. That much has been made clear to those who have been paying attention. Possibility one is that it's a former civilization, and we're just now acknowledging it. Very true. Very, very true. Now, for some reason, if you look at it, like I said, this is what we're doing tonight. We're kicking back, we're talking, we're growing. We're thinking about the phenomenon as a whole. We're not going to focus on the current situation because everyone else is taking care of that, right? What we're doing is I want to think about what's going to happen after, because we're at a point right now where I don't think there's any turning back. And I think this idea that it could be a former civilization, if they've been here forever, then that makes that makes sense. You know, but I think we always have this idea of like, oh, it's like ancient civilization, former civilization. I think they just think about it. Yeah, they've been here before us. Super simple. Like, you know, try this experiment, guys. Try to simplify things. You know, I find this all the time with the UFO topic where people really just try to, I'm not saying Night Hunter that you're doing that at all. That's not what you're doing at all. You're giving me a simple response, but I'm saying you'll find this view when it comes to the UFO topic where people really try to break things down and really explain it. And I'm saying, let's look at the big scope, but let's just take a second and really realize how simple this really could be. Like you said, former civilization, cool. So they are the chicken, we are the egg. Whoever just tuned in now is like, what? Chicken and egg? Yeah, they are the former civilization and we are some kind of break off or some hybrid or whatever, because that's literally what they're doing in most abduction cases. There's a hybrid program. Inside of these craft, normally there are these beings. The patterns are there. If you look into UFO history, the grays, that's a pattern. And what they do, it's a pattern. So to just think about the craft and just think about, you know, it's invading our airspace. I understand that these are moves that we're making right now to have a bigger discussion in the future. But you and I, all of us, we need to not forget that. We need to continue. Like, remember everything you've read. Remember everything you've looked into. Because the hype right now, it's for the everyday normal people. The real story is much deeper. Derek, what's up, man? Derek says, we're the aliens, Schrodinger's cat. We exist because they observe us. As soon as they stop, our reality collapses. You know, I try my best to look into consciousness and look into, you know, what reality means. And I've even looked into, you know, that we're living in a simulation and all this kind of stuff. And I can't do it yet. Right. That's when it gets more complex. Right now we're talking about basic stuff, but that's a true, I like how you use Schrodinger's cat. I think I couldn't even say it right. Schrodinger's cat. I've been speaking Spanish all day. Sophia says, I'd be surprised if they were native to Earth, as we haven't found evidence in the way of another civilization, litter, or impact on geology. It would also be hard for an underwater civilization to reach space. You know, I think we've seen them around water, Sofa. They're always around large bodies of water. I don't see why they couldn't be an underwater civilization. We've looked more into space probably than we looked into our oceans. So there's just so much to think about. And the moment you start talking about, you know, underwater civilizations and forgotten civilizations and all these kinds of things, humans have this problem, I think, where we really think we know everything. We're like, we haven't found any evidence yet. Humans find species and learn new things every single day, all the time. Not every single day, but you know what I mean, all the time. So we have to take a step back for a second, get off that pedestal of, the humanoid pedestal, and just think about it for a second. There are so many things happening on this planet at all times that we don't understand. There are so many things we do every day that we think we understand that could be completely wrong. And I think what we're facing here is a subject and a topic that sort of breaks those barricades down. That sort of teaches us a little bit too. It says, hey, you don't know everything. You guys can't figure everything out. All you guys are doing is putting names to stuff. Scott Brown says, some people believe that it's not aliens at all, but we are seeing the programmers of our simulation. I've heard that, Scott. That is interesting. I think one thing there with that, and the one thing I don't agree with there is I've read cases of the Greys, for example, reacting in ways that just don't seem like, you have cases where they react sort of, I guess it would be like symbiotically, right? Like they all react together, sort of moving like robots and this kind of stuff. But then you have cases where they do really stupid things. And I think you got to just look at it and realize who knows how other beings would really act? Do they have emotions? Do they laugh? Do they smile? Do they do the things we do? I don't know. Maybe these beings are just super timid and super frigid, and that's just how they were raised. They don't have any culture in that sense. Maybe that's why they use the hybrid program. Maybe it's just to get our smiles or to get our... I always thought maybe they used the hybrid program just to make a stronger species, mixed with them. Think about it. If you were a Gray, this is getting crazy, but if you were a Gray and you're weak, you're intelligent, but you're very frail, right? You got no emotions. You can't reproduce like on your own. And you find this planet, or you know that there's a planet that exists. Now I'm talking about space aliens again. But let me try to align this with what we've been talking about. So you're a Gray. You're trying to find a way to become, evolve your species, which is what I'm saying, that we need to find a way to evolve ourselves. So having their technology would be great. But back to the Greys. So you're trying to find a way to evolve your species. So what you do is, I don't know, manipulate some genetics to create a human, because you think that if you can breed with that human, because it's the only animal on the planet you can breed with, I guess, who knows, you can create, like a stronger version of your species, because they seem like they are intelligent, but there's so many things that they're lacking that we have, right? I don't know. It's something to think about. I've thought about it a few times. Scott says the Greys and the abduction is part of the program. That's interesting. And Donna Shy, what's up, Donna? She says, do you believe the phenomenon is a nuts and bolts or more paranormal? I used to say the paranormal is normal, and I do think that the paranormal is normal. That's sort of like that was the catchphrase on my channel, because that's kind of what I wanted to express and share with the world. I was like, look, so many weird things happening. People shouldn't be weirded out by. The paranormal is normal, basically, right? There's so many paranormal things and unexplained things happening that we should be okay to accept and study and learn from. But I do think that the UFO phenomenon, whatever this is phenomena. So I think there's a nuts and bolts aspect to it. I think there could be orbs and light beings and all these different kinds. Because guys, let's face it. If this is real, who knows what else could be real? That's what I've been trying to say for months. In 2017, when the gimbal and the go fast, all this stuff started happening, it started coming to light, right? That's kind of why I shifted in that direction, because I was like, the paranormal is normal. Look what's happening. Some people don't like to say UFOs are paranormal, but it's not normal. I mean, it's not something we can explain, right? Because I'm like contradicting myself. The paranormal is normal, in my opinion, but I'm saying that UFOs is something that we can't explain, so it's paranormal, right? At least until we can figure it out. We can figure out what's really going on. So if it says people say the Greys are robotic, but they may just be military astronaut types focused on their work. That's very true. That's what I'm saying. You never really know. We don't know the full story yet, but it doesn't hurt to think about it. You know, it doesn't hurt to throw out these different kinds of questions. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? Mike says, it's 3 a.m. I just woke up. Mike, you're awesome, man. Thank you for being here. Managed to catch a bit of the live. Yay. Thank you, man. 3 a.m., the witching hour. I hope you got some good rest, though. That happens to me sometimes. I wake up at 3 a.m. a lot. But everything UFO says possibly layered right on top of ours, a similar way that maybe the paranormal works. That's why they say paranormal overlays with the phenomenon. It's true, but let's think about this for a second. The phenomenon is so vast, and it's phenomena for me. Like I said, orbs, light beings, everything, mantis beings. What is really going to be real when UFOs are real? You got to think about the big picture, right? All these different stories of all these different kinds of beings and all these different kinds of interactions and situations. These hotspots where people say there's poltergeist activity, where people have a plethora of paranormal experiences, and they also see UFOs. So what does that mean? I think everything is magic until it's science, right? And I think the paranormal for us is something that we really don't have a way to study it or measure it at this point in time. So it's kind of it's paranormal. It's not normal to most people. I'm saying it's normal because I feel like a lot of people experience the paranormal, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. Athena, the poop. That's a funny name. She said, whatever we deem as real is whatever our senses take in. It's easy to fool the eyes, nose, and ears. Those are just signals going to our brain. It's a good point. It's very true. But I do think the physical is very important, right? And that's what I'm saying. I do think the UFO phenomenon is physical. Let's talk about the crash craft. I don't know how many times I got to bring this up, but people keep talking about crash craft, and they're not saying, okay, so there's crash craft, so where are the bodies? Because if there's crash craft, there are most likely bodies. That's the trippiest part for me. As soon as I read that, I was like, okay, so where are the bodies? Where are the bodies? Where are the occupants that were in the craft? Maybe a few times. Just also, if there are crash craft, right, and they're retrieving these things, Derek says buzzards. Right as you said that, I imagine like a buzzard eating a gray or something in the desert. But just think about this for a second. The United States is not the know all end all when it comes to this topic. This is a global phenomenon, and it's something that's been stretching back since the beginning of time. So think about how possible it is that there are a plethora of craft just sprawled, crashed, whatever, around the world. Like the other day, I was thinking about it. I had a dream. I think I brought it up on one of the podcasts as a joke the other day, but I had a dream where there was this old man sitting in a poppy seed, and he was smoking a pipe, and there was like an old craft, and he was using it kind of like he was sleeping in it. It was like a little glimpse in my dream. I'm not one of those people that can control their dreams very well. I've been trying to practice, trying to practice controlling what happens in my dreams, but I can't. So it's just like images and crazy stuff. Sometimes it's a full story, but most of the time it's just crazy. But I was just thinking, like, it could be very possible that if there's crash craft, that there's crash craft all over the place. And I love the argument when people are like, well, they're so intelligent, they'd never crash. They never get shot down. First of all, if you've read anything about these craft, these saucers, these different types of vehicles, sometimes they do not fly as magnificently as you think. Sometimes they wobble around in the sky and they fall to the ground like a leaf. They don't crash, but I'm saying when they land, they just sort of trickle down. I've read some crazy stories where these things don't sound like something out of a science fiction film. They sound like some wonky thing that I can't even imagine is super advanced. Athena the poop. Every time I say it, I'm gonna laugh. She gave me a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Athena. Derek, he says, I'm really hoping this momentum stays and the government around the world starts saying we have craft and aren't lying. I hope that happens, Derek, but let's see if they accept the idea that these beings, there might be other intelligent beings interacting with us that might be from this planet or from wherever, right? But let's hope they can get that through their head. Because my thing is like, I knew this was going to happen. I've said it a bunch of times. The word extraterrestrial, the word alien, the word ultra-terrestrial, it ruins the dinner party. Lots of people will be like, yeah, UFO, yeah, I've seen a UFO. Aliens, yeah, in space, yeah, why, alien life, totally, I totally believe, because it's ridiculous for you not to believe in alien life in space these days. So people think they're awake and they're open. They're open-minded because they believe that there's alien life in space. No. 20 years ago, you would have been open-minded. Today, you're just everyone else on the planet. The issue is when you say, are they visiting us? And they go, no, I don't know. There. I can't believe that. I can't figure. I'm like, dude. Unconventional thinkers, man. You need to fight the good fight. Continue. Teach your children to think outside the box. Tell them, look, racism is wrong because it's just wrong. Violence is just wrong because it's wrong. There's no I don't have to explain it to you. It's just, it should be an emotion in you that you're like, yeah, it's wrong. I should try to figure out a better way to do this. I don't know. I know that might not have made sense there, but what I'm trying to say is there's so many topics that should just make perfect sense. And people just seem to beat around the bush. And then they will sort of change their story as soon as the news is like, yeah, UFOs. Oh, yeah, totally. I always believed in UFOs. I know Alien Girl was telling me that the other day on her channel, that she felt a little angry because some people were agreeing with her after treating her like she was, wrong or weird for believing in UFOs. And I was telling her, there's nothing weird about you. There's something weird about them. There should be nothing wrong with questioning something, thinking about something, asking questions. So many people worry about their credibility these days when 90% of those people have no credibility to even worry about. What do I have to lose? Really? So, Marchand, he says, recognition that they have crafts would be admission that they've lied to the U.S. People and the Congress. Some very important people would have committed treason. Well, that's why I think what's going to happen is they're going to, whoever, when this comes out, when it really, I don't think it's going to happen now. I think it's going to happen in the next few years, right? I think they're going to have to play dumb. It's the only way. And they're also going to have to play dumb because how do you explain the abduction phenomenon? People, nobody wants to talk about the abduction phenomenon. It's so frustrating. Everyone's talking about these craft and they're forgetting the whole story, the whole lore, everything. They're just talking about these craft. And I'm like, okay, cool. The craft are real. Cool. You have something much bigger to worry about. The relationship these beings have with us. Is it really that crazy to say that when you're talking about UFOs all day? Come on. Like, you can see I'm a little frustrated with that. It's also kind of why I've been sitting back, because I'm like, okay, this conversation is great. It's continuing. It's going where it needs to go. People are only ready for so much. And I think they're getting what they're ready for right now. And we're going to see this whole battle between what are these? It's not possible that they can be other intelligent life forms with these craft that aren't Russian, Chinese, or that's going to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The Russian Chinese explanation. Like, seriously, look into the topic for 5 minutes. Did they have this technology all these years ago? Come on, guys. Have a little sense. It's crazy when you hear intelligent, coherent people making this argument. Like, really, they leapfrogged some country leapfrogged the entire planet 70 years ago? And there are a lot of young guns, man. They say they call me a young gun sometimes, but I think I'm an old, I'm there's a line from I think it's J. Cole. He says, I'm the rookie and the vet. I'm the rookie and the vet. It's I've been looking into this for 4 years. I've been looking into this for 15 years at least. And I'm not going to be one of those guys yelling about how long he's been looking at it. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say, like, I've seen the whole picture. You can't just come and talk to me about craft and tell me there's craft and not talk to me about the bodies or the occupants or the whole abduction phenomenon, the whole story. Like, really, seriously, I understand some people are not ready to talk about that, but you can talk to me about that. We can talk about that here in the community without looking like we're crazy. Because think about this. The other day they were saying, you don't want to get too woo. I made a whole video thanking the woo, basically saying, if it wasn't for the woo, if it wasn't for the people that weren't afraid to have these kinds of conversations like we're having tonight, if it wasn't for this, the UFO topic would be nothing. If it wasn't for people not being afraid to come out and tell their story that they thought was too woo, too crazy, this topic would be nothing. Betty and Barney Hill, Travis Walton, all these famous experiencers, even when you talk about the Ariel School case, or most of the cases in the phenomenon, like Westall, those are all experiencers. And you're learning about this topic from the experiencers. Don't forget that. Don't just, even the pilots, even the people that are relaying what happened to them, what they saw, those are experiencers. So don't forget about the abductees, man. Don't forget about the experiencers. I love how people are just overlooking that 100% at this point in time, but I get it. They want to keep the conversation credible and valid, and they want to be able to take it to a court of law. Here's the thing that I worry about. The law, the law isn't always just. Some people get sent to prison unjustly. For you to believe that there's some kind of power that can justify and correct things and do things always the right way is ignorant, in my opinion. You have to understand there's always flaws in everything. So for me, when I see the U.S. government taking this topic more serious, Congress, whatever, I'm happy for the people. I have no clue what the government's going to do with this. I have no clue where this could go. I actually have said this before. I'm worried that if they do have this technology, why not turn it into a weapon if they figure out how to make it work? And how do they protect the skies? If this becomes a reality and UFOs are real, eventually they're going to have to police the skies and stop these things from coming into, the airspace. That's going to have to happen. And people are going to be like, no, well, UFOs, they wanted to wipe us off the face of the earth. They would have already. They haven't. And I don't think they can because we've done some pretty crazy stuff where maybe they would have been like, okay, let's wipe them off now. Did you see that bomb just blow up in Hiroshima? Wipe them off the face of the earth now. So yeah, it's just we're at a great point right now, a momentous moment for me. I'm telling you guys, don't think anything I'm saying is trying to be like, oh, I'm just being real with you guys. Don't worry. It's just real life. It's just how things work. It's not a conspiracy. It's not weird. It's just how things work. So let me check out the live chat. Tim F says, hail the undead gaucho. Thank you, Tim. Rusty Pack says, our fellowship of the fringe is special. We need a place to come together and have the uncomfortable conversations about experiences, abductions, etc. Definitely, Rusty. We're losing that because everyone's like, let's keep this. It's like being in school and you got the math club, and then you got me in the back of the class sitting there listening to punk music. I don't really, I agree with it. I got some friends in the math club. I think they're cool. I think they got a good idea, but that doesn't change who I am and what I think. So yeah, our fellowship of the fringe. I love that, Rusty. That was great. For those of you listening to this as a podcast, and guys, I'm saying this because I'm going to upload this as a podcast. I need to put something up on the podcast. It's been a minute too. And I love the conversation we're having tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you'd like to join us in the live chat, go to my channel, The Undead Gaucho on YouTube. I'm the only Undead Gaucho that exists out there. And yeah, come join us in the live chat. Let's have a discussion. Athena says, yes, and safely. I think she's talking to somebody else in the live chat. But that's awesome. Like, I love to see you guys talking there, man. Predator says 1947 to 2017 UFO conspiracy. 2017 to 2021 UFOs are real. Trust me, man. I remember when this was like, oh, do you believe in UFOs? It was a conspiracy, man. They thought it was a conspiracy, and I was like, dude, it's not a conspiracy. Lots of people see UFOs. There's no secret. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about, like, where we are today. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way too. It's almost like what made me bow out for a little bit. I'm like, here we go. Like I said, the Breakfast Club moment, hand, fist in the air. Like, here we go, man. We did it. We did it. We just won a part of the war. We have to continue. This is going to continue for years. Man, you guys have some amazing names tonight. Prismalites says hypersonic weapons are being developed not to point at each other, possibly. This is very concerning. Hypersonic weapons. Look, weapons are going to get crazier and crazier as the years go on. UFO phenomenon or not. That's how it's going to go, man. Unless we can figure out a way to actually, like, isn't it crazy that not every country in the world has nuclear weapons? They're like, no, it's cool that they have one. We can't have one, though. They could, like, wipe us off the face of the planet if they wanted to. But it's cool. I trust them. They're nice people. This whole idea of the good country, the bad country, I don't dig it, man. Just because I've seen two countries, and that's only two countries. I couldn't imagine if I'd been around the world. It's just there's too much culture around the world. There's too much. I'm telling you, always remember this. The bad guy is the person behind the barrel always. right? But it doesn't mean that they're really the bad guy. It's just that's, if you're the one behind the trigger, for you, it's the bad guy. But that bad guy has kids. His kids are going to grow up and they're going to remember what you did. And then you're the bad guy. So just remember that always, guys. Sofa says true, low. Guys, I am having a blast tonight talking to you, man. I think it's really crazy to see NASA talking about this. Like, guys, this is monumental. We are in a very, very good place right now. I'm still worried about this report, though. The UAP report. I shared the video that I filmed a few months ago today on Twitter, sort of saying like, hey, guys, heads up. Look, I talked about this in the past. Don't forget that, like, it's possible that this could let us all down, and it could actually throw back the conversation. It could get us somewhere like we don't want to be. If they keep bringing this stuff up, like, no explanation. Like, I love how people just, they vibe with that. They run with that. Well, it's not aliens because they said it's not aliens, but there's no explanation. There's no evidence of it being aliens. You like how I'm putting on that 1950s nasal reporter voice? It's not aliens, man. There's no evidence to say that it's alien. What evidence do they need to say that it's aliens? That's probably the craziest thing I thought about all day too. What do they need? It's because they don't even know anything about the UFO phenomenon. These, like, a lot of these people that look into it, I feel like a lot of these, I feel like some of us on UFO Twitter probably know more than the UAP task force about the phenomenon than the UAP task force. Not to say that they don't probably have great scientists, great research lab, all this great, tools to pull the right information from. So when they see a case, they can figure it out. But I think if you talk about the lore, you talk about the history, they should be like recruiting people from UFO Twitter, because there's definitely patterns. There's definitely something that makes this, there's definitely alien evidence here. But what is alien? Again, we got to change the word, man. We should create a petition. Let's start a Robin Hood petition to change the word alien to something else. I don't know what it could be. Let's think about it and we'll do it. And we'll see if a Robin Hood petition. What is it? Sorry, it's not Robin Hood. There's a webpage where you can create petitions. I'm forgetting it. Change.org. We should do it on change.org. I said Robin Hood because I'm thinking about crypto. And there's this petition to get that. I don't know if you guys know anything about crypto, but there's this Shiba coin. It's like an affordable meme token. And they're trying to get it on Robinhood with change.org with a petition. So I said Robinhood. But man, I don't know, guys. I'm happy to be back, though. I want you guys to know I respect you guys so much. I'm so happy that you guys are here. And every time I jump on these lives, I love seeing your conversations in the live chat. I love to see you guys in there. Gray, man, you've been here for so many lives, and you are a G. There's so many of you here that I can't say enough. I can't thank you guys enough for joining me and just sharing your thoughts and having these discussions with me. Like Mike, 3 a.m, Mike. Thank you, man. You are so cool, man. Athena, thank you. All of you that hit me up with the super chats. That's crazy. Yeah, I hope that between now and the end of the year, I can do this full time. I don't know what the schedule is going to be like for now, because I'm still kind of doing, I'm overworked at the moment. And I sort of had this good rhythm. I was doing this, and then I was taking the audio from this and putting it as a podcast, and also trying to create videos on the weekend, which takes hours, while researching and doing all this stuff. And then I tripped up and I fell. And when I fell, it was like I dropped the ball. So I'll see. I'm going to pick it back up because this is all stuff that I love to do. Marchand says 4:15 here in Belgium. In Belgium. Belgium must be beautiful, man. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Belgium. It's a global phenomenon, 100%. Also, guys, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Turn on the notifications. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And share this with everyone that you think would be interested in sitting down with us here in this live chat and talking to us. But God, it feels good to be back. Thank you guys, man. And Prismalades is talking about Skyfort. It's a big document dropped via Lou from FOIA activities, proving we are heavily studying UAP and UFO for 7 years. Dude, Prisma, just know what's happening now, ATIP, the UAPTF, all this stuff, it has been happening for years, since before Project Blue Book, and there's multiple countries around the world studying this topic. Now, Argentina has a group dedicated to studying aerial phenomenon. I thought it was actually closed down. I thought they had closed it down when the presidency changed, but I just saw today. You know what it was? I think they closed it down with the last president, and they might have started it up again. But I saw it today, which is like totally bad because I'm here in Argentina. I should have known this, but they are running again, or like it's working, and they were on season 2 of Unidentified, so that should have been a sign for me. But I thought maybe Lou's just talking to them. Maybe he's talking to the guy that used to run it before it closed or something. But yeah, dude, there's groups and people dedicated to looking into this. I promise, if I ever become very wealthy, I am going to hunt down some of these crash UFOs. I'm going to create a team of UFO hunters, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the truth. I'm going to search and dig and dig and dig. If I become a filmmaker, director, and I drop like a Close Encounters film, trust me that I'm using a lot of my money instead of on a Lamborghini to look for this stuff. I want to travel the world. I want to go to different hotspots. I want to go to Peru. I want to talk to, indigenous people from around the world, see what they know about this topic. Just the other night, I spent hours looking into different villages. I just took like a list of different countries, and I just was like, country, village, UFO, country, village, UFO, country, village, UFO, boom, 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 boom. Hours. Found some pretty cool stuff. Nothing too crazy. I was hoping to find something like maybe some footage or something that maybe didn't get out there too far, But yeah, I mean, the search, the rabbit hole stuff, I say, when I'm like, it's dark down the rabbit hole, it's a long journey. It really is. And there's moments and times where just hours and hours. I see Kay says Peru, me too. My wife actually went to Peru. She went to Machu Picchu, like when we were dating. And I didn't go. I stayed. I should have went. I regret it now. I wasn't invited though, so that's why I didn't go. She went with her friends. But now I definitely want to go to Peru. At the time, I was interested, but I'm not like now. I think there is a lot of history out there that we still need to find, and a lot of beautiful, fascinating things out in the world. Not just the UFO phenomenon, Prismality says, I agree, and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we never stopped studying this matter. And I volunteer for your search. I'm a 30 plus year engineer. Oh, damn. Awesome, Prismalades. That'd be awesome, man. If you say boo, I'm there with equipment and knowledge. Awesome. That's great, man. Thank you for saying that. And trust me, there may be a chance, there may be a day where I say boo. You may need to show up and help me out. I've been working on some projects too, guys. Keep an eye out. I've been doing a lot. I haven't been very active here, but I've been doing some stuff. So I think maybe in the next week I'll be able to share some information with you guys about these projects that I've been working on. And I've been drawing a lot. I'm thinking of a new piece. I know you guys saw that. A lot of you might have seen it. a piece for where it was an alien looking at a newspaper, and it said, "Honey, we're back in the news again," or something like that. I'm thinking of a new one because I feel like that one, we need another one. So if you guys have any ideas, shoot me some ideas for that down in the comments. And yeah, guys, I think I'm going to end it here, even though I wish I could literally stay all night talking to you guys. But I think if not, I'm just going to ramble. I'm going to ramble on. Do me a favor. I was supposed to be on that UFO podcast yesterday. I had a little technical issue, and I don't know when that will come out, but go check out that UFO podcast. They are awesome, man. The boys at I think it's the like Signal, Shadows of Your Mind. Everyone down in the links. There's links down in the description of this video. I need to add some people like Alpha Check. Go check out Alpha Check on Twitter. He did this great video just showing like how there is so much more information in the gimbal videos and the go fast, like in the videos that we see, these FLIR videos that we see. There's so much more data there and such a bigger story. So make sure to go check that out. Go to Alien Girls channel. Everyone. There's so many people I can't name. There's also a lot of conversations happening. And like I said, I'm really happy to see that because that's always been part of my goal, is to just help spread the conversation and grow it. So I'm so happy to see so many more live conversations coming up, so many more people showing up and talking and sharing their experiences, their faces all over the place, man. I love it. So thank you guys. Have a beautiful weekend. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a video uploaded. We'll see. This is getting me back how the Gaucho got his groove back, basically. But I want you guys to have a beautiful weekend. Never stop searching for the truth. And as always, before I tune out, I'm going to leave you guys with a little clip. And yeah, guys, you're awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll talk soon. Oh, let me do it again. It was perfect. You guys are awesome. We'll talk soon.